How you doing?
Good.
Good to go?
Yep.
I thought that was a Carolina hat. What hat is that?
This is Cooter's Garage.
Cooter's. Where is Cooter's Garage, man?
Hazard County, Georgia.
Yeah, that's Dukes of Hazzard?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, yeah. When I was your age, actually I was a lot younger than you, that was a big, I used to watch that every night.
Yeah.
Very, very popular show, show. Well, guys, we're back here at the Coach's Corner, Core Wrestling. Again, my name is Coach Banks. I run the Core Wrestling Club here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been doing it for about 8-9 years. And very excited about our next guest, Mr. Hudson Jones, heavyweight wrestler over at Charlotte Christian School down here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Been wrestling since, age 10, 11?
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade.
So.
Yeah, I know you started with a different club, and you came to us a little bit later after like a year, right?
I started at some clinic at like Providence Day, and then maybe a year or two later I found Core Wrestling, and that changed a lot for me.
Yeah. I remember you were just a little kid coming in, and you were always a big athletic kid, played football, different sports growing up. Football was pretty much your passion, and then you got into wrestling too. What drew you to wrestling? Was it something your dad said, or just you saw something in school?
My dad's a basketball player. One of my buddies who I played football with named Jay, you probably remember Jay.
Yep.
So our parents were good friends, and we decided to check out wrestling. We both like WWE a lot, pro wrestling. It's not the same thing, obviously, but
yeah.
But it made us check it out, and I ended up really falling in love with it and replacing basketball with that in the wintertime, and it's kept with me all through high school and stuff. So.
Yeah. I think it's pretty fortunate, you picked both those sports because wrestling and football really go hand in hand, especially with the position you play. What position are you in football?
I'm interior, so I'm offensive line, defensive line.
Yeah, a lot of hand fighting?
Yes, sir.
Footwork? Yeah.
If you talk to a lot of these college coaches, they get really excited when you say you're a wrestler, especially if you say you've been good at it. So. Yeah,
and you have been good at it. So I want to talk a little bit about that, the resume. So you won your first state championship in elementary school, right?
We started doing all the AAU stuff. I'd have to think. I was probably fifth grade because first, maybe second year, got smoked, got the tar beaten out of me, stuff like that. So
you lost a lot of matches you should not have lost just because you were just getting used to it. And your second year, man, I mean, you were having an okay year. I mean, you lost some, you won some, but the state tournament you won, it was like, bam, I remember that. Your dad was coaching you, I think.
Yeah, probably.
At that time. New Way?
New Way and AAU and USA tournaments. So once we started winning, we kept winning until end of middle school, started doing high school.
Yeah. So first state title, elementary school. You won every state title in North Carolina, New Way, AAU, and USA Wrestling every year through elementary and middle school. Get to high school freshman year at Charlotte Christian and state title. Tell me about that. What happened?
That was actually really intimidating because I was a freshman, wasn't expecting to win all the way. I mean, I knew I was the best guy out of all the guys I'd wrestled, but I assumed there'd be some guy show up as a hammer, but I don't know, got prepared. I was as good as I could have been that year, and I threw the guy to state finals when I was a freshman, threw the guy and pinned him.
Nice.
And
headlock, hip toss, what'd you do?
He tried to throw a headlock on me, and I just mat returned him and
stacked him up, pinned him.
Yeah.
I love it. So far, 3 years, freshman, sophomore, junior, you've won a state title high school every year. Going for your senior year, coming up this year. Last year was kind of weird, COVID year, kind of a weird year. But you dominated last year, really didn't have any competition in the state. So senior year coming up, do you expect anybody coming out of the woodwork, or what are your thoughts?
I'm going to be ready because, there's going to be people everywhere. There weren't as many heavyweights last year, and it was my easiest year last year by far. So I'm hoping, I've heard kids have moved in and gotten into the system and stuff, so I'm hoping I'm going to have some real good competition this year because the school stuff wasn't on par with everything else I was doing last year. So.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is, I know your focus now is getting prepared to finish up, I would think, finishing up strong, undefeated high school, 4 state titles, and transitioning into college football, wherever you decide to go. I know you got a couple options, so is that pretty much your mentality there?
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it as much as I can because I love the sport, and if I don't do it in college, I'm gonna miss it. So I mean, I'm gonna enjoy wrestling as long as I can, and it's helping me with football too. So.
Well, I can promise you this: if you ever feel like you want to get a little extra workout, I'm sure the college coach would love for you to go in the room, just get a little sweat. It should be fun for you there. But looking at the resume here, I think we got a pretty good idea. Let's talk about some what I call the favorites. So. This is a little bit of fun question, just to kind of get you warmed up a little bit. Favorites. So you run you're always underweight for heavyweight. You're a lighter heavyweight, quicker, faster. But you still got to watch what you eat. You want to be healthy and perform your best. So you growing up, you've had to cut weight some to make tournaments. I remember that, cutting weight. What is your favorite cheat meal when you feel like cheating?
Right, it's fried chicken or pizza. I don't do the fried chicken anymore. I've been mixing in some pizza lately, but I don't do the fried chicken anymore.
Yeah, I like the. You know what? Just to let you guys know a little plug. Harris Teeter has some really good fried chicken. Just to let you know, it's really good. Pizza. Who's your favorite pizza?
Domino's.
Domino's. Okay.
Cheapest one is the best though.
I love it. So cheat meal. We talked about that. Okay. Favorite schools. So for wrestling. You know, there's 4 or 5 dominant schools. There's really 2 now, though. It's Iowa and Penn State. Those are the dominant schools right now. And of course, Oklahoma State's always there. Cornell's always there. You know, Chapel Hill had its first national championship last year. But as dominant schools for the last probably 5 to 8 years, it's pretty much been Iowa and Penn State at the top. If you had your choice, which one do you think lines up more with your personality?
Man, Iowa's got those Pittsburgh Steelers colors. Big Steelers fan. No, but I don't have a favorite. I like watching it. So I'm uncommitted to any college. I just love watching the NCAAs.
Yeah,
that's all I can watch because I don't know how the freestyle and Greco works. I never even learned.
Yeah, down in North Carolina, man, we got a couple. We've had a couple of national champs in freestyle Greco here, but as a team, we haven't been dominant like some of the other states. But I will say, knowing you, I would probably say Iowa.
Yeah.
Number one, because of the colors, right? Number one. But your style is definitely more hand fighting, heavy handed, double edged, snapping and going. Penn State is a little more, I think, scramble style, a little more loose, you know. Who's the coach out there? It's Cale Sanderson. He's a little more laid back. And I think you're laid back too, but I think you would respond to that intense coaching pretty well. You'd be pretty comfortable there.
Yeah.
So if I had to choose, I'll choose that for you. Next favorite. So as far as wrestlers go, you got your heavyweights, you got all different styles, or different weight classes. But 2 of the most dominant, prolific wrestlers in USA wrestling history for the last probably 8 years have been Jordan Burroughs and Kyle Dick. So we got them both on the wall. We got Burroughs over there. We got Kyle Dick over there. A lot of great wrestlers here. We got John Smith, Kenny Monday right behind us. Dan Gable, of course, you got to have him on the wall. He's right over there. But between those 2, man, who would you say is your favorite, Jordan Burroughs or Kyle Dick? Because, Kyle just won. He just took the spot on the Olympic team.
So I got a Kyle Dick poster on my wall, and I listened to, a couple hours. I listened to Joe Rogan's podcast with Jordan Burroughs. So I like Jordan Burroughs. I like Jordan Burroughs because he's just the best at something. Like he's clinical at taking people down, or at least he was for a long time. So just owning a field of wrestling just is cool to me. Where if you think of a spot or a move, then you're the guy that's the best at it. So
it's a hard choice, man. But I agree. I told Trey yesterday, I was interviewing him, and I agree. I said Jordan's my guy. But you can't go wrong between those 2. They're both great guys, class guys. The way they win and lose is always classy. Physical specimens. I mean, they train like beasts. Kyle's got this new workout. Have you seen this video where he's like doing this freaky stuff?
No.
It's weird, man. But it works, man. He's a great athlete. And both of them have done something that no one else has done. Like you said, Kyle, first 4-timer, 4 different weight classes in NCAAs. And he's beaten the number 1 guy pound for pound, right? He took him out. So either one, you can't go wrong, but I would lean towards Jordan. It's just, sentimental value, I guess. So favorite wrestler, favorite food, cheat meal, favorite style. So I know you didn't wrestle a lot of freestyle Greco. but you got freestyle, you got Greco, you got folk style. If you had to wrestle one style, yes, so you coach, I'm gonna get $1 million for this one match, but it's got to be this style. Which style would you go?
I'd be folk style. That's my old faithful. I maybe did a month or two of freestyle and Greco.
Yeah.
Maybe in like middle school, but I never really. I don't think I did any tournaments with that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, with freestyle Greco, you either love it or it's just like, for me, I had a lot of fun doing it. I preferred freestyle. It just seemed a little more natural because I was doing leg attacks and I could get my mind around it. Greco was fun because I'd like to throw, and I picked up some good hip movement and some good techniques that I transitioned to folk style with my lat drop. But for the most part, I would probably go folk style too. I just feel more comfortable. It just feels like that's where I spend most of my time. So I get you. Let's talk about one more favorite. The last favorite is favorite move. You got 20 seconds left. You're in NCAA finals. You're a senior. It's your last match ever. You're down by 1 point. You get a takedown, you win. What are you going for?
Probably sweep single.
Single, Old Faithful.
That one's done me a lot of favors.
Yeah.
I probably have to.
Back in the day, heavyweights didn't shoot a lot like that, but now I'd say for the last probably 8 years, you've seen a lot more heavyweights doing those low single leg attacks. And was it Gable Stevenson?
Yeah, he does the whole arsenal.
Oh my goodness, what an athlete, man! Yeah. Oh my God, yeah, he can leg attack like a beast. So that's good, man. We get a little bit of personal information on him. I want to switch over here to some wrestling specific questions. So, Hudson, one of the main reasons we wanted to have this video is for the younger kids. And when you answer some of these questions, just really think about if you were talking to yourself as a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old, just getting into the sport. You've been in sports your whole life. You know how to compete. You've been successful in every sport that you've competed in. But wrestling is a little bit different than other sports, as you know. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of parents out there that are like, man, how do I best support my kid in this? How do I get him into it without him quitting or avoiding being that overbearing parent or not supporting enough? So think about coaches and parents and what you've experienced as you go through some of these questions. You'll help out a lot of little kids out there, okay?
Yeah, you just got to be tough. I mean, it either makes you quit or it makes you into somebody a lot tougher than you were before. So if I was a parent, I don't know, I'd warn the kid ahead of time, hey, this might be one of the hardest things you'll do, sports-wise, but look at all these kids, or look at all these NCAA wrestlers and what they turn into. I mean, it instills principles in you that make you successful people for the rest of your life, and you can see that with the best wrestlers, the guys that make it all the way through, and it's something worth pushing yourself through. So
yeah, I would agree, man. I think not everybody thinks the way that you and I think. Other wrestlers that have been successful in the sport. It takes a certain mindset to come in and just get it. Most kids have to be trained to think that way, right? But one of the things that resonated with me, that's kind of what you're saying, is that you either, are going to run to it or you're going to quit. And that's where you need the support of your parents and the coaches, right? Mm-hmm. But for me, it was like, wow, it was such a combative one-on-one element,
You can't blame it on anybody.
You can't, right?
It's all on you, so.
It's on you, man. And we both have had matches where we're looking like champs and like the best ever. We both have had matches where we're like, man, that was embarrassing, right? So that's one of the things that I loved about the sport is some people really run from that. People like you and I run towards it, and I think that's one of the core values that we talk about commitment with our core values. And as a parent, any parent wants their child to have that level of commitment, just that mental toughness, knowing that it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up. So that sounds like something that kind of resonated with you. One of the things I look at as well is, what's your mental approach? So the mental approach, what I mean by that is, when you first started wrestling as a kid, you were just going to tournaments, your dad took you, me, Coach Wolfong, we're like, hey man, let's get ready, getting you ready mentally. But at some point, some age, it kind of switched to where you were the one getting yourself ready. Mm-hmm. You go into a tournament, you're getting warmed up for matches. Walk me through your mental process and like what you're trying to do. What are your routines in terms of getting yourself mentally ready to compete?
Well, I just have to remind myself that I do more than most of the guys. So if I'm looking at a guy across the mat, I know that I've trained more than him. I know that I've been eating better. I know that I've worked out more. I know that I'm meaner. So I just got to remind myself that I got to remind myself of what I've done to prepare for the match, and that I got it. What I've done, what I know I can do. So, and I mean, when I started wrestling, it was you just go out there and have fun. But once you start to get a reputation to yourself and have to defend your reputation, you get more pressure on you. Yeah. That's when it gets tougher to prepare for a match mentally, because you get nervous. You get, hey, I don't want to lose this. I got a lot to lose now. Then I know that I got a name. So that's when you have to really start to figure yourself out, once people start to know who you are.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Most new kids aren't going to know what that means, right? Yeah. But once they've been wrestling for a few years, and if they've had any success, then that pressure's different.
Yeah.
So Kyle Day talks a lot about that pressure, because when he was in college, he was like, he's doing something no one else did. Big target on his back, right? And he talked about, pressure being, it's pressure doesn't exist. It's not a physical thing. So why even let it weigh you down? That was his mentality to it. Michael Jordan talked about, why would I worry about a shot that I've never taken? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, right? And that just comes naturally to some people. But when you think about the nerves before a tournament, is there anything that you do physically to like get yourself ready, having a routine to where you feel comfortable? Do you do any, you have any positive self-talk? Do you do any visualization? Anything like that, or you just kind of let it happen?
Well, I like to think about what moves I can do on the guys, so I'll watch them wrestle before if I can, look for any weak spots, and then kind of visualize myself what kind of moves I can get on the guy. Because the ball's in his court. If you get off to a good start, take him down, catch him off guard, then he's struggling. That changes the match. So
yeah. So you like to get out ahead early, get that lead. Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about a little bit more about the mental approach, nutrition. So a lot of I think high school kids, you know what to eat and what not to eat. But what advice would you give some of the younger kids? Like, hey man, because I know you experienced cutting weight in a young age in football and in wrestling, and still doing it in a way that's healthy. Hydration. What types of proteins, carbs. What was your approach to it? I know your dad was very involved in your nutrition at a young age. So, what was your philosophy?
So we started off just calories. That's when I had to lose weight and element for popcorn or football and stuff and wrestling. But since I've been in high school, I don't do it intentionally, but I gain weight during football, lose weight during wrestling. I have different needs for each sport. So my diet changes. So if I'm building up, I do more protein and carbohydrates. And I'll still eat all the foods I need, all the stuff that's good for you, but then I'll have stuff on top of that for football. Wrestling, cut all it out. I have lean meats, vegetables, get my metabolism all fired up so I have the stamina to wrestle for a long time. And it's different for each sport for me. I've had to bounce around weight-wise and all kinds of stuff for all through high school.
Well, a lot of professional, MMA guys and boxers experience that a lot because they're going up and down different weight classes. Sometimes it can make a difference in them, making, $100,000 a year, maybe $1 million plus that year, depending on which weight class they're fighting at. So you see that a lot, and it can be done in a healthy way if you got a plan and you know your body within certain parameters, right? Because you're a big guy, you're tall, you're big, so you can fluctuate a lot more than maybe a smaller guy could and still be healthy. But, for little kids coming in there, and even high school guys, I think it's important. One of the things I've really seen a lot of is hydration. Hydration being a very important piece. The other thing I've seen a lot of is really keeping an idea on your macros. So you mentioned the protein, the carbs, and fat. I know your dad and I have talked a lot about
it. Good fats.
Yeah, healthy fats. So what are some of the healthy fats that you would recommend?
I don't like it, but what is it called?
Guacamole?
No, not guacamole.
Avocado?
Avocado.
Yeah.
I don't like it. But I eat that. I eat a lot of nuts. That was my mid-morning snack. So I'd have when I was trying to really put on weight at the end of wrestling.
Yeah.
Get ready for football. I'd have big breakfast, protein stuff, and nuts mid-morning.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
yeah, I don't know what other fats I eat a lot of. That's probably the most. I eat
Yeah.
a lot of mixed nuts, like
Yeah.
cashews and almonds. So.
Yeah, man. I think you guys got it pretty dialed in. Your dad told me he used to sneak in like vegetables somehow in your protein shakes. You didn't know it. Something like that.
No, stick the kale in there.
Yeah, you got to get it in. Trey's the same way. His dad had those veggie pills, I think. So I actually like vegetables, man. I think they're good for you. They taste good if you cook them right. So the last thing here I look at is, what would you say to parents and to maybe new coaches out there that are looking for ways to motivate their kids, motivate their athletes, without burning them out, supporting them and making sure they stick with the sport? What have you seen as far as some good best practices, either from your own parents, other parents, your own coaches, other coaches? Just any thoughts on that?
I would say appeal to what they want to do. So whatever they want to do, you gotta. And I'd say wrestling helps you with a lot of things. So you're flexible here, but whatever they want to do, I want to play football at a high level, the next level when I was young. So when my dad says, "Hey, let's try wrestling," that's gonna help you with football. That makes me really want to do it. But I end up loving wrestling itself. So I mean, if you appeal to what a kid wants to accomplish, and you show them how wrestling's going to help them, and they'll see it for themselves, and pretty soon, I think that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah. Trey said a lot about that too. He played a lot of football growing up. Now he's very much focused on wrestling. But the other piece is, just looking at listening to the kids. They may not know as much as you as an adult or as a coach, but what I'm hearing from a lot of the athletes is just listen to the kids and tie them what they're trying to accomplish. A lot of times as coaches, we forget. You'll see a position, and what up, coach? You'll see a position, and you'll say like, "Wow, they should be turning the corner on that, or they should peek their head out." And the guy on the mat's like, "There's no way. You don't have any idea what kind of pressure's on his arm right now. I can't hit that move." So listening to the kids, I think a little bit more is an opportunity, and tying kind of what you said with things that they want to do, all good opportunities. So I guess I'm going to have to edit out Coach Collins when I edit this video, but we're all good to go.
I'm sorry.
No problem, guys. Hey, Hudson, appreciate you coming out, man. Best of luck in terms of your college plans. One last thing, I think this is the post we typically have after Hudson wins the state championship, so great job, man. Proud of you.
Yeah.